Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining me on this Sunday evening from the UK, the 27th of the 4th, 2025. And for those joining me on Instagram, those joining me on TikTok, those joining me on Facebook, Silver and TV, you can find me on all these different platforms. But listen, I always like to do makeup shows, creating opportunities as well. And tonight, I put together a discussion with Mr. Tommy Gore, moving on. I find that very interesting because I've been following these young gentlemen, Tommy and Somerville, Senna, and I'm saying, hang on a second, these guys are always together. And then I started to think about that. I said, hang on a second, are they setting things up for a Senna and the Somerville and Gore race off? Maybe what is happening, like in the past, coming into the future. So that could be it, if anything. But I said, Rosemary said, listen, I need to get them on. These guys are in Germany. Yeah. So I'm going to bring them on. But before I go, I saw this video which I created, and I think it was really super duper. So I'm going to start this off by playing this video, and give me your thumbs up for it. And then I bring on Tommy Gore and Doug Gore.
Still be at the front, top three, and podium against all these champions. I think just an honor for us, and really happy to represent the country on such a high level and bring Jamaica motorsports to that level and keep the limelight on us. I think it's amazing, and I see it just continuing in the same trajectory from here.
Well, good evening, gentlemen. How are you doing? Your mic is on mute. Okay, Tom. Hey. Good. How are you guys?
Lovely.
Awesome.
Here in the cool temperatures of Germany. But I know you guys in the UK used to those kind of things.
Well, we used to it. As a matter of fact, this week it is a bit chilled, 10 degrees or so. But they said this week coming up now is going to be 26. So we're going to have a bit of Jamaica right in the UK and so like that.
Wicked.
I was standing beside a photographer, and he was wearing shorts and a t-shirt. And of course, I'm sitting there kind of freezing, and he looks over at me and he says, "Boy, you look cold." And I says, "Yeah, man, boy, from where I come from, this is like freezing temperatures." And he says, "Where you come from?" And I said, "Jamaica." And he said, "Oh, yeah."
Well, Tommy, I do my walking in the park in the mornings. Yes,
that's right.
Yes.
So there's a pond, which is there, a lake, and sometimes it's at -2 degrees, and people go there and swim. Ladies go there and swim. I mean, God rest his soul, but like a young gentleman just passed away in there recently, a chap, but they're open back now. But people go there -2 degrees. I say that's not Duns River Falls. That's not Ocherius water.
No. So I guess you have not done it then.
No, definitely not.
Because that is an episode all by itself,
That's an episode all by itself.
When you decide to jump in there, you make sure and tell me that in advance, because I want that to be the highlight reel.
You want that to be the highlight, yeah.
We will be there. We'll hold the camera for you.
Yeah,
you hold the camera. But listen, I want to thank you guys for coming on. And when Rosemary Binder, one of your greatest fans upon this earth,
who's that?
Rosemary Binder, because I've got
to Rosemary Binder.
There she is, man. You can't miss her. She's
we know what you're watching, so I mean, just give her like a poke.
Yeah. She's your greatest fan upon the earth. You know what I mean? The greatest fan upon the earth. I think she's now driving somewhere back from wherever to back somewhere in Germany. Yes. So when she told
she's not breaking any speed limits like us.
I think Max is driving.
Okay. Flat out, Max. Flat out.
flat out. But listen, when I got to understand that there was it was Tommy has moved on, and I'm saying, what is this moving on? Because I'm always seeing you guys in Somerville. the previous two interviews that I've had with both of you, you've always been together. So before I go there, though, as to the change and the moving forward, I'm going to really just ask for persons who don't know and for Jamaicans out there, because we always have this issue, like say, who is Tommy Gore? And Tommy, I know you are, but just for the sake of the audience, who is Tommy Gore?
So I'm a full Jamaican, believe it or not. A lot of people over here don't believe it until I start speaking to them, and they're like, "You're not from Europe, are you?" And I was like, "No, definitely not."
Yeah,
So
yeah.
homegrown Jamaican, lived there all my
Fifth,
life.
fifth generation.
Fifth generation now.
Mm,
Third generation race car driver in the
yeah.
Gore family, and I love racing. I've been involved for this my 15th year racing now, and
But
I'm all
15,
over.
but you
My
look
first
like,
year internationally,
but you look like
second year.
16. But you look like 16, Virgin.
Nah, just over. So I started when I was 4. So
Yeah, right. Yeah.
it's been a while. So yeah, homegrown racer, love it. Love motorsports as a whole. Love business. Love everything about it. So we're making the most of it, and we're over here in Germany taking on their second year now racing internationally.
I need to just because right next to you, there's a gentleman there, which is Doug Gore, and I saw a picture of you.
Ah, okay.
No, no, Tommy, no, that's actually I saw I saw image. I saw image earlier, and the image, I'm gonna see if I can find it, but the image is of someone looking in and looking on,
All
and if I
right,
can,
another one.
there's the image coming up here now, and there's somebody in the background there. Who is that?
Yes. I'm not sure, This is maybe a random bystander, you never know.
It's his team manager. That's who it is.
Yeah, but
That the one
can
that
you?
controls the purse strings.
Yeah, but there's been a sort of rivalry between yourself, Gore, and Somerville. Tommy, sorry, Doug. I keep saying Tommy. Yeah. If you guys can sort of elaborate on that, the rivalry for years, and also Tommy, how it has impacted you to be where you are now.
Well, we started out, David and I started out basically as
Mm,
team members back when we used to rally, both of us for Mitsubishi, with
yes,
motor sales. And we did that for a long time. And then we realized that circuit racing was the way to go. That's where the sponsorship dollars was, especially in Jamaica. And rallying, now we both kind of left rallying and went to circuit
yes,
racing. And then we had the famous Doug and David shows,
yes,
David driving a red Evolution, Mitsubishi Evolution, and I was driving the Audi. So,
mm,
we also had those clashes, not even for the marquees of the brands, but also the two names. And it brought a lot of people out, and everybody wanted to see who was going to win. Now, whether it was Doug or David, it didn't
yes,
really matter. It was the show that we put on. And
yes,
I was kind of like the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde sort of scenario. I would
yeah,
walk around the paddock and I would go there and say, "We're done with you today." And David was the meek and mild, gentle person. But I must tell you that once those helmets went on, everything
yeah,
went out the door, and it was all gung ho after that.
mm,
And that battle was there for a very, very, very long time. And then we had some of the other youngsters. Now they came in, like a Kyle Gregg, and that battle went on for also quite a little while. And then we had a massive crash at Jam
yes,
West, both David and I, and some reconstruction had to take place. And
yes,
then to go now and look that Tommy and Senna actually joined forces, the whole Senna Somerville Tommy Gore
I mean, we were
scenario.
we were racing against each other in go karts as well before
Yes,
the.
yes. It was
okay, yeah,
it has always been a family battle for a
Yeah,
long time, right?
yeah.
So to go and see them together last year was an unbelievable moment, and both of them, I'm sure, will cherish everything that happened last year between them. And
mm,
then what had happened is that as the year finished and they finished on a high, they finished on a podium. What is going to take place next year? That was the next question. And are we
yes,
going to
yes,
go on now to try and win the championship back in Germany?
yeah,
And then we saw that Senna had ideas and Tommy had ideas, and it was completely separate, right?
yes,
And
yes,
it was at that point now that I had to go to Tommy and said, listen, we are going to drive back in Germany. We are going to try and win this championship. We're going to race against the best of the best in the world. This is what we wanted to do. Senna wanted to go and race in Italy, or there was another race in Germany that he wanted to go and have a dip with. And we just wanted to race against the top
Yes.
guys all over Europe. And this was the only way that we saw that Tommy could hopefully now get a paid drive further on down the road. Because, of course, as a youngster getting into the sport, this is what you want to be. You want to be the next Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen. You want to be that kind of guy. And the only way was to go there now and show
Mm.
your abilities in front of just even today. I mean, easily 100,000 people were in the stands today. I did a little panoramic
Yes.
video
Yeah.
from the crowd, and I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean, yesterday, I can tell you, you were literally dodging people around because of the crowd. It was phenomenal. And yeah, so we as I said, we had a
Yeah.
little different plans, and we went elsewhere, and we're back with the WNS Motorsports team in Germany for this year.
So can you tell me like this bit here about sort of recapping 2024 in briefly between Senna and yourself, Tommy. What was the end of 2024 like?
So yeah, you had us at the start of 2024 where it basically was all going wrong. We started with a
Yeah.
lesser experienced team looking just because we didn't know, to be honest. They answered all the right questions. They had all these promises and they couldn't fulfill them. Then about halfway through the year, we ended up switching to WNS Motorsport and switching to the
Mm.
Porsche. And honestly, it was a great switch, great proper decision that we made.
Yeah.
Ended up
Mm.
going to Nürburgring and the last three races of the calendar and just doing better every time we got in the car. Ended on a really good high at Hockenheim with a P3 in race one and P5 in race two. So it was just amazing. I mean, you're in front of over 100,000 people at that race and getting out of the car and you're just
Yeah.
like, wow, this
Mm.
is truly insane against 24 other of some of the best GT4 drivers in the world. So it's truly an awesome experience last year and something as Dad had said, I'll cherish forever doing it with Senna, with another Jamaican and one that I grew up racing against, of course, and the whole history behind the rivalry between them. So
And for
really
yeah,
impressive.
and for the purpose of listeners, when they say GT4, can you elaborate what is GT4
So
for those
GT
who are?
racing is a class of racing that is mainly based on the manufacturer's road-going
Mm.
vehicles. So if they have as you said, a Porsche Cayman or the Porsche 911, these are GT style cars. The manufacturers make them to be raced. They make them the base chassis, and they can make it as a
Yes.
road car because they need to make the money off of it to then be able to make the race cars and fund their teams. But the race cars are just basically a modified version of your road-going vehicle, and
Yes.
there's a lot of research and a lot of development that's done through motorsport, and that's why they invest the money into these style of cars. So it's probably the biggest genre of racing worldwide, and the one where we see the most opportunity to continue into the future, both with marketing, because it's something that you see every day. You've seen a Porsche on the road before, you've seen
Yeah.
Audi and Lamborghini, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. You've seen pictures of it before versus these prototype style cars, which also don't have the manufacturer back in. So and then the 4 is just a class. So it's GT4. Right now it only goes up to GT3, but in the past
Yeah.
they had a GT1 class, which was a bit faster, kind of like Formula One. Formula One is the fastest, 2, 3, 4, and each progression gets a little bit slower, a little bit lower experienced drivers. So we're at the second level of. I think there's one level above me right now, so we're on the way up.
Well, we're going to touch on the ADAC bit. But I want to ask this question now, and the title here is Tommy Gore moving on, and the question now is moving on to where, to what? Is this a step towards moving to other great thing? What does Tommy Gore moving on means? Yeah.
Well, I'm no one kind of staying where we were. I'm in the same championship, everything as last year. So
Yeah.
I'm staying on the same path that we were on and with the same goal as last year: win races, get podiums, and represent Jamaica to the fullest on the best stage in the world.
Mm.
I'm not changing that path too much. That's the goal that we have, and that's what we're pushing for, to be the best in circuit racing through from Jamaica, through from the Caribbean. You know, I mean, there's a couple other guys, Alex Powell, Zane Maloney, who are doing amazing internationally. They're more in the Formula side of it. There's really nobody in GT right now. We have a couple of guys in Trinidad and Guyana who are buying cars to race locally, but none of them are racing at a high level internationally or especially in Europe, you know. So we right now are the pioneers figuring out, making the mistakes, but also creating the path for the younger generation when they come up as well.
And the truth behind it, Silborn, is that
Yeah.
by running in this particular series, we are able to now give sponsors also on the worldwide, but especially even also locally in Jamaica, their due.
Mm.
So we could now go to a sponsor and say to them, listen, we're going to help you advertise in Germany, in the UK, all over the world, and also right there in Jamaica, right there on TV, radio, and the newspaper. So we're giving them a huge, broad spectrum of being able to capitalize on, of course, their marketing ability with us. And it was just so, like Tommy had said, that he had signed with the Porsche team here at WNS.
Yes.
And Tommy is now the new face of Porsche in Jamaica. So it
And
is that sort of
yeah.
thing. Yeah, it's that sort of thing that is broadening our horizon. And we knew that we could get the sponsorship because of that. And go to, say, a brand new rum developer called
Yeah.
Culture Rum, and they would come to us now and say, "Hey, I have a new rum product in Jamaica, but I want the world to know about it." And we said,
Well, Virgin,
"Okay."
Virgin with all the tariffs going around the place now, I think Jamaican rum is becoming a bit very attractive now in Canada.
Yes,
Your friend Uncle Donald, he calls that.
But listen. The very interesting thing you mentioned about marketing there, and I know I just switched away now, is because I was at the Jamaica High Commission a few weeks ago, and Jampro there were 5 Jamaican business persons, 4 gentlemen and a lady, and what they were doing, they were pitching to English companies with BPOs and tech and all those sort of things that they're doing. And this is so interesting because I see, like Tommy, your car will be driving with some of these guys, because if they're tapping into the UK, British market to really touch on to certain things from tech area, therefore they're tapping into Europe as well. These guys, I got interviews of them, which I'm going to put out as soon as possible. But I believe this is very interesting, and sort of bringing the whole Jamaica bit now into this whole thing, because I mean, you can see Rosemary Binder. She had the Jamaica flag out there, flying very high, as you can see in the image which I'm going to put there now. Yeah, so bringing the whole Jamaica essence of this at the same time.
Well, Tommy even had spectators that were wearing Jamaica shirts.
Yes,
Actually,
yeah.
today.
From last year, when we're handing them out, they kept them the same signed shirt that I'd given them, and came back and took a picture with me this year, and they wore it to the track on their own. So I was very impressed that they phoned me, they messaged me on Instagram, "Hey, can you come out and take a picture with us?" I was like, "Oh, for sure."
And don't forget that you're super fans.
Yes. And I've had people come back to about 3 races in a row just to come say hi and take pictures again. So
Were the children there?
No.
Were the children there who you did some time ago?
All ages. I mean, you're having people come up to that are like 5 years old from to 50, well, not 50, but to 75, 80 years old. These people that love motorsport.
Are you saying that 50 years
No,
old?
that's how I corrected myself.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure, because you and I will have a little talk later.
Yeah, so you're having people of all age groups. I mean, me personally on my Instagram, it's a little bit of a younger bias between like the 20 to 35-year-olds. But when you're at the track, you're interacting with people of every demographic, every age group, and it's all motorsport fans. It's motorsport that brings them all together. So as a sponsor, the visibility for it is incredible. You know, you have different age groups, different demographics at the track, and they're all seeing your car. They're all saying, "Hey, what brand is this? What is Esotel? What is Sandals? Can I go stay there? How do I stay there?" That kind of stuff. Those are the questions that are being asked at the track. So it's very good, and it's a great opportunity that we've developed now for Jamaican brands to be on this stage.
One of his newest sponsors that just came in right at the literally end, just before this, was Supreme Ventures. And when Supreme Ventures were talking to us, and we said, "Well, what do you guys want to do?" Because there's a big lottery company, and So we weren't sure where they wanted to go with it, and they said, well, they have a brand that is basically brand
Yes.
new, and I said,
Yes.
okay, we wanted to publicize it, and this was their remittances program that they have now put in place.
Yes.
And of course, it's people that are in the UK, in Europe, all over the world that want to go and send money home to mommy and
Yeah.
papi and
Yeah.
auntie and uncle back in
And just
Jamaica.
remind yeah, and just remind me of Supreme Ventures B USP again. What's their business again? Supreme Ventures. Is it promotion?
It's a very big group of companies, but their
Yes.
main thing is more the lottery and the gambling side of it, or
Okay.
I guess you could
Yeah.
say betting, supreme bet like
Yes.
bets
Yes.
and like just bet stuff like that. But the company that we're directly promoting for them is Rio. It's a remittance company, and it's
Okay.
brand new. They've set up like an interface where you can easily send money home, send money basically
So
anywhere in the
Rio,
world.
ladies and gentlemen, join Rio. You can
That's
get
right.
all your
Rio,
money
yeah,
anywhere. I'm bigging up Rio, so Rio can come
yeah,
to
man,
us.
yeah, man.
Thank you.
Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for joining. I'm here with Doug Gore and Tommy Gore, father and son. I wonder if they're going to race together. But anyway, from Jamaica's ADAC GT4 racer. That is very interesting. And Tommy is moving on. Tell us now, Tommy, about your new partners, driving partners that you have now.
So I'm driving this year with Alan Gabe. He's an Israeli driver, and it's also his second
Yeah.
year in the championship. So it's still a bit new to him, but he has a bit of experience under his belt. He's been driving in this team and this car for quite
Mm.
a bit of time. So we do believe we have the pace to go and challenge the guys at the front and really make a good step into the championship and into the world of GT racing, and make our mark there.
Yeah.
So it's a great partnership. I mean, you're getting people from Israel that are commenting on all of our posts, that are interacting with it. So it's also good in that regard. But it's really, really, really impressive.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I
And
think that's me coming out of the car or going into the car at that point. Yeah. But
yes. Yeah. No.
but
No.
I mean, the
That's
partnership with
great.
Alan is amazing so far, and we hope to build on it as the year goes. You're sharing a car with this guy, and you have to trust each other completely. That I mean, it happened today where we had an accident on the front straight that's out of my control. But you also have to trust that I'm not going to put myself, or he's not going to put himself in any situations to hurt either of our chances in finishing a race or getting a podium. And it's really a lot of teamwork and a lot of effort that goes into perfecting a race weekend. And a lot of it comes from just working with yourselves, working with each other, and developing your skills in whatever way you can.
But also, Tommy, the years of relationship that the family have with the Summerbells and working with Senna for a long time, there was that level of relationship and that trust that you guys had, and now you are
Yes,
now
yeah. It
stepping
was,
into
it
a
was
new
super,
partnership
super
now.
easy at the start,
Yeah.
because we both, I knew exactly how Senna is. Senna knows how I am from we
Yes.
were 10 years old, we're racing against each other,
Yeah.
having friends. So that was a very easy transition. But to now go with Alan and we've known each other for 6 months, so
Yeah.
you're learning a lot about each other. You're like, oh, what's
6 months?
yeah, yeah.
Sure.
Well, August, well, a little longer than 6, 8 months, no, 9 months, but
I
it
didn't
hasn't
think
been
it
a
was
year.
that long.
Exactly, yeah, it hasn't been a year,
Yeah.
So we're still learning a lot about each other, each other's preferences, personalities, and it's how you work with that and know to
Yeah.
communicate to each other, even especially within a race weekend where it's such a high pressure situation.
Yes.
There's a lot on the line for everybody, and
Yes.
everyone wants to do their best, So
Yeah.
you need to understand each other and really develop as you go on.
Doug, as a younger head, I'm very careful as to try to
I
ascribe as try to ascribe age to you. As a younger head, this whole bit of partnership now, how do you what do you see about that? Because as I mentioned before with Tommy, the relationship with Senna over years, stepping into a new uh partnership and into a new era, moving on. What is it like? What are the challenges in that respect?
Well, I will definitely say to you that we were really pushing Senna to be a part of this program one more time. A
Yes.
lot of it came down to dollars and cents, and
Mm,
whether it made sense for him. He was quite a bit older than Tommy.
mm,
Where his path was going to be. he did come back and say that he thought that Tommy would have the relationship to hopefully get a drive later on in life with a manufacturer. He did not see that for himself, although we thought that we saw it. And David and I were pushing him and said, listen, you never know. Let us run this program one more time. So he had his doubts. And then, we had now our, let's go for it, let's go for it. Especially with me, I'm always one that we need to give it another try. And if we didn't give it another try and we didn't go and push this year, we're always going to look back and says, boy, what if? I rather that I can now hug Tommy at the end of the year and say, guess what, guy, you tried it all. And,
Yes.
we'll move on to maybe racing back in Jamaica or whatever. But, I still wanted to be able to do this for him. And I still want to maybe at the end of the year, we get a phone call and say, hey, we want you as our driver. So, again, it was all just us saying we needed to give it one more last push, and this is
Yes.
going to be a very instrumental year. And I must tell you,
Yes.
Silver, that we're so glad that you invited us onto this program, because it's people like yourselves with the media houses that are able to help us to publicize to our
Yes.
sponsors and show the sponsors that we have a wide range, especially right there with you in the UK, and your
Yes.
listeners listening on. This is where they can now say to you, "Hey, I see what's happening. I like what's happening." And when you go there back again next year, and you go to a Supreme Ventures or a S Hotel or a Sandals, or even Porsche Jamaica, and you say,
Yes.
"Hey, would you come back again next year?" And they'll say, "Listen, man,
Yes.
100%. We loved what we saw, and we'd like to continue." So
And
that's
and,
what
and
the
yeah.
partnership is all about, right?
And if I just add here, there's a DM Charles TT from Trinidad. Proud to see Tommy out there. That's from Trinidad. There's a Marcy Bernard watching from Paris.
Wicked, wicked.
There's Marcy Bernard coming from France.
Nice.
And different persons, Tommy to the world as well. So even the world is watching.
Yeah,
Tommy
man,
to the
big
world.
up everybody watching. I know a lot of them are from my links. I know I recognize a lot of the names. It's wicked. Thanks for tuning in.
Yes, yes,
I will tell
yeah.
you, there was a little
And
funny joke going on in the newscast today, and the radio
yes.
announcer or the TV announcer said, "Well, Tommy always had this saying, says Jamaica to the world." I says, "But guess not,
Guess
didn't
not
have
today.
today."
Yeah,
Well, we can always still do it as well to the
yeah,
world,
man.
So let us know now about the. Actually, someone just said a while ago they are actually racing Jamaica. There's racing Jamaica as well.
Yeah, man.
JMJ.
Big up. There, I saw them on the ADAC stream today. I was watching. That's wicked.
Yes,
Yeah,
the
man.
ADAC German GT4 competition now. This is the move schedule. Okay, you had today. I don't know if you want to elaborate on today and where is it going, and maybe more about the ADAC German GT4 competition schedule, where the next races are. I remember, Doug, you did say to me, I need to drive across. Did you say drive across?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
So I need to
remember,
soup up my car.
we're
Do I
willing
need
and
to,
waiting for you to come and jump in the passenger seat. But we just want to
do
make
I need
sure
to
that
soup up my
you're
car
wearing
then?
the adult depends, just in case.
Do I need to soup up do I need to put on some wheels on my car or leave the car and just jump on the train?
Yeah, man. Anytime, anytime. Need to see you over here. But yeah, as I was saying, the ADAC GT4 Germany Championship, it's essentially the one of the most competitive GT racing championships in the world. It's managed by a larger group called SRO. They set the BOP, they set the balance of
Yes.
performance, they organize the championship with with the manufacturers, with the regulations, that kind of stuff. But the championship itself is right this year is 6 rounds, basically all around Germany, with one race in Austria at the Red Bull Ring, another F1 track, and we're looking at basically 21 cars with 42 drivers on the grid. And I'd say
So that's
easily
two,
two
two, two.
thirds of these drivers are all race winners, champions, and have a wealth of worlds of experience behind them. You know, a lot of them have been in the series for 3-4 years and are able to now use that experience against everybody and get the best results out of it. So you're going up against these guys. In my team, at least, we have 4 cars, and all 8 drivers are quite experienced. I think we have 2 rookies to the championship, but they've been racing all of their life as well. So there's nobody that's fresh to this thing, and it's very, very, very interesting and very cool to see that all these guys are so competitive and driving at such a high level versus you're in Jamaica or the Caribbean, and you have those special talents, but a lot of them don't have never been exposed to something like this. So it's truly incredible to now come from Jamaica and jump into this pool of talent and pool of such, I don't know, the experience behind them is not from just themselves. They also have these coaches that are multiple champions, DTM champions, which is at the highest level of GT racing, coaching them and saying, hey, do this, this, and this, and you'll beat him. And they have to go out there and execute it. So it's truly, truly, truly
And that's
incredible.
one of the things that I was telling Tommy 2 years ago, Silverton, is that we had gone to England and he had won a big race there, and then we went to
Silverstone.
Hungary.
Hungry,
Yeah, Hungary, and then he was also jumped on the
podium.
podium there. So of course, all the phone calls and everybody is saying, "Hey, we want you to come over." And then I said to Tommy, I said, "All right, what do you want to do?" And then he was now showing me some of the series that was going on throughout the world. And then he said, "But Dad, this particular one, ADAC, this is like the epitome of racing in the world. I mean, these are people that win in Europe, win in Italy, win in other countries all over the world, but then they all gravitate to this particular race in Germany because this is where all the best of the best come to go now and hopefully get picked up by one of the marquees."
Yeah, I mean, in my team alone, we have guys from Denmark, Australia, Jamaica, of course, Israel, and we have 3 Germans on the team. But on the
Dubai.
grid, well, no, it's Australia, but he lives in
It's
Dubai
Australia.
at least.
Oh,
But
okay.
he's from Australia, so we have guys from 3 continents at that, and it's crazy. You have these guys bringing experience from everywhere, and they're within your same team. So that's something you can build on. But on the grid, last year we had guys from South Africa, the USA, England as well. There's a couple of guys from England on the grid that have won British GT championships, that kind of stuff. So they're all coming to this championship for one reason. And even one of them I was speaking to at our autograph session yesterday, he's saying that he won his championship in England. He won a championship before that in England. And they've said, all right, well, what's the next step? Just like I've said to myself as well, and it's to come to the ADAC GT4 German Championship and see what they can do, how you stack up against the best of the best, and see what opportunities come your way for the following years.
And can I just ask you this? There's Lewis Hamilton there, and they always say that one is 2 steps away from someone that they know. But when I'm not talking about who you know now, I'm talking about steps away from being in a championship like that. Where do you see yourself then, in a sense?
Well, I mean, I am in the highest GT4 championship. The next step above me would be to go to what they call GT Masters, and that's a GT3 championship. It's a bit faster car, and again, the level of competition is even higher, believe it or not. So these guys have had the GT4 experience. They've had a couple of years in a GT3 car, and they're now in one of the best GT3 championships. So that is a step up. And the race weekend that we are on, so we're affiliated with, is DTM, which is the biggest touring car championship or GT championship in the world. And this is again 20 of this is the best drivers. I'd say some of the best drivers in the world actually on this track, and that's what also, along with our championship, draws a crowd, because they're coming to see these cars zip around at 250 kilometers an hour, and it's some crazy excitement. Everybody's going into corner 1 and following each other nose and tail the whole race. So there's a lot of excitement, and the Germans especially love it. The Europeans in general love motorsport, like we do in Jamaica, like everybody does in the Caribbean. There's such a big culture around it, and as I said, we're having people from 5 years old, these little kids that love having their hats signed by race car drivers, to people who are 70 years old collecting photos of us and making us sign it for them and keep it in their house, sell it on the marketplace in their villages around. So it's very, very, very cool, and it's something that we have in Jamaica and in the Caribbean, but I had never experienced this again in Europe. I mean, in England it was great, but in Germany especially, the motorsport culture, it's a completely different level.
I want to ask you this question. When I go about doing my interviews and in the park where I walk, sometimes I'm starting to speak to people a bit more like, who are you? What are you about? See them for years. Actually, you know their dogs even more than them. You know,
Yes.
and you finally reach out and say, who are they? And they're so excited, and people are so excited. And Tommy, I sense this excitement in yourself in this whole thing. It's like you're passionate. And when you're talking about it, you're just you exuberating so much passion. Um, what is it to you? What is racing to you personally?
So
Take daddy
I
out.
honestly I was born into it, you know. I mean,
Yeah,
from I was zero, I think I was coming to the racetrack as well. I mean, one of my earliest memories is being on a rally stage with my mom,
yeah,
sitting down in her car and waiting for my dad to pass. You know, like it's pretty there in
yeah.
my blood, basically. From the
And I
first
will
time
tell
I
you
got
that
in
a
the
lot of
car.
people have come to me, Silborn, over the time and said, "Are you pushing Tommy to do this? Is this just you? Is this your passion and you're just
Living
pushing your
yourself
son
through
to
him,
go?"
like
Yeah,
living
yeah.
yourself
Well,
through him. Yes, yes.
I can definitely tell you that it's not so. Racing is definitely running through his veins. There's no doubt about it, and it's something that we have talked about throughout his lifetime. And what does he really want to do? And I can definitely tell you, to be a race car driver is definitely his passion.
Can
So
I
at the
just
top of
say,
the list
yeah,
for sure.
yeah. Can I
And
just
I
say
mean,
this? Yeah,
it's more than just to say, oh, you're going to go drive the car, but
yeah,
it's the whole culture behind it and the whole all that effort that goes into these weekends. You know,
yeah.
you see these guys putting in hours, whether it's just yourself as a driver studying on it or going to the gym, working out, making sure you're as fit as possible, but down to just the mechanics on the team, the engineers that are making sure that the car, everything on the car is 100%, because when they make one little mistake, it makes you look horrible as well.
Can
So
I just
it's
say, yeah? Can I just say this? And I'm going to go back to the picture here, and this picture here, you see Doug Gore in the background there, and also I listened to Doug a couple of times when he say, "Ask you, Tommy." He ask you, "What is it that you want?" or so like that. And that is the point that we're coming across right there now, whereby like some people living their life or living their dreams through their children or so. But I sense, Tommy, that you Doug, that you're there behind whatever you want to do. Tommy, if you want to pack it up, I think you'll just say no problem. Or no, you won't say that.
No, even all right. Say, take for example, yesterday
Yeah,
he got into the eighth overall position, and I was quite happy because making the top 10 in his first run back in the series, you're feeling all right. Hey, all right, let's try and get as much points as we can going into the
yeah,
next series. I'm almost literally looking on to the next race meet, and
yes,
then of course the start of this race. I even have a video. I'm trying to catch him in the first corner because I'm saying in my mind, all right,
mm,
Tommy is starting in 12th. I want to see him by the time he hits corner 3. I want him to
mm,
dice two man. I want him to take out 2 man on the way. So I'm all, I'm there videoing the whole thing because I want to go and talk to him about it. I want to go and show him. And then all of a sudden, all hell
this
breaks
crash that you're
loose.
showing
Yeah,
happens.
that your crash is showing. I mean, it's like I'm literally sitting there counting the cars, and I'm going 2, 4, 6, 8,
yeah,
10. Wait, hold on. I don't see the car. And then I hear Rose now and Max now. They're going, "Oh my gosh, Tommy has crashed. Tommy has crashed." And I'm now looking around trying to see where Tommy is. And then all of a sudden, I see the car come around the corner limping. And I'm saying,
yes.
"What? Well, can I tell you what?
Yeah.
And you just hold on the head and you start to walk back, and all of these things are going through your head because you're now
So
thinking
that's
of,
that's a car there. That's you, Tommy.
yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
because you're now thinking of the championship. You're now thinking of, what are other people looking on? What are they thinking? Was there a guy from Porsche or Audi or BMW? Was he watching this race? Was he
Mm,
wanting to see what Tommy Gore was going to do? And then it was after when we realized that, listen, Tommy actually just got really lucky that this could have actually turned super, super ugly, and that he was able to avoid an absolute massive catastrophe as far as a crash, and realized that it was just not his fault. So, it's that hopefully people are looking on and saying, all right, we're going to wheel, as we say in Jamaica, wheel and come again.
We'll and come again.
Yes.
So therefore, so that sort of sets out as to how it was yesterday, because yesterday was what? Oscars Ben? That's a premier race weekend. Oscars
Yes,
Ben.
this was the first race of 6 in the series. So first
Yes.
one, I mean, you're going out there. The goal is just to grab some points. It's to start the championship as best as possible. Obviously, if you win the first 2, it's great, but then you can still lose the championship if you start off in first. It's not called on the first race or the first corner. So me getting hit in the side on lap 1 of race 2 was not in the plan, not in the book of
Yeah.
cards. So. Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to go from that, but it's just something that we need to build off of. Looking forward to the rest of the season, and as you said, I mean, why do we race? I mean, there's so much passion and everything and effort that goes into a weekend. You're walking back to the pits and you're saying, "Damn, man, like this is a lot of work that went into this. You traveled so far, all this kind of stuff." So that's what I was saying. And when they came to interview me halfway through the race, the ADAC, the TV coverage actually interviewed me. It was on Sport One, which is televised throughout Europe. And the guy came up to me and said, "Hey, sorry about that, but let's do an interview and get you some TV coverage stills," because they really wanted me in the series, as I said last year. So it's
So
great to
they
have the
also
support there as
understand
well.
that somebody coming all the way from the Caribbean and coming all the way to Germany is also a very big thing for them.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Yes, and then it also sparks interest with the crowd. Who is this guy all the way from Jamaica? Boy, he must think that the cousin come from the Caribbean and can drive. Well, guess what? We want to show them that he can
Yes,
drive.
Yeah. So so tell me now. Let's talk about watching the time now. Let's talk about the sponsors now. So what are the sponsors? What are the key sponsors in this whole essence?
So of course we had to get back on Amsoil, Motor Lubes, Miracle Corporation,
and tell him about the
yeah, and they came on board immediately when I called them up and said, "Hey, we have this opportunity again this year," and they've been with us longer than I was alive.
Yes,
yeah.
It's over 20 years.
Miracle Corp, Amsoil, VP
From
Racing Fuels.
I normally say from God aware.
Yeah.
I normally say from God aware khaki.
Yeah, so they're one of the companies that we're super loyal to, and they've been super great to us. So came to them with this opportunity to get some amazing exposure in Europe, in Jamaica, and they said, "Hey, we also have this new rum brand, Culture Rum. It'd be great, because it means who doesn't like a Jamaican rum?
I'm going to send you a bottle, but there's several mixes in it. So you have to tell me which one if you like the whites,
red.
If you like the reds, and then we even have one with a little ganja weed in it, kind of mix up.
Listen.
So when you get drunk and you also going to get high. So this was like a double whammy.
Let me just tell you something. TikTok is a funny thing. I got TikTok here, and every time I mention something like my talk and sip Saturday night, where I say, "What are you drinking?" TikTok comes up and say restrictions. So you supposed to restriction open your ganja.
Oh no, I hope not.
No, don't worry about that. But
because
it's
of course,
I
I mean, who doesn't love the Jamaican rum and everything? And from them, we got some great coverage already. Going back to Jamaica, May 10th is the auto show, the biggest auto show in Jamaica. They'll have a couple tents there. I'll be there along with ATL Automotive, who will have their Porsche booth, Audi, VW, Kia, Honda. They do all these.
ATL is one of your sponsors as well, yes?
Yeah, so ATL Automotive, Porsche Jamaica, they're on board, and we got them on board this year, which is amazing. We'll be doing a lot of stuff with them again in 2 weeks' time at the auto show. Throughout this year, you'll see some more media pushed out with them. Maybe I'll be test driving a couple Porsches, a couple Audis.
Can I get on to drive then?
You can come for a test drive.
Oh my gosh.
Tommy.
Boy, he's getting a little nervous already.
Yeah.
So having them on board again is amazing, of course. And then we have Sharon Williams, which is another huge loyal
you mentioned that one before the last show.
Yes. So they were on last year. They're back on this year. And we have Dad. It was with them 25
Yeah,
years.
yeah,
I think they are the longest sponsor on
Hey,
the car.
you just got
you
you
can
just
pull
got
your
another
phrase
one.
again, Silver. Pull your phrase again.
Do you
Drop
need
it,
more
let me hear it.
sponsors? Do you need more sponsors at Jamaica
Of
Patty
course,
House?
of course. Yes, yes, yes.
Here we are.
Send
Going
me a
once,
message.
going once, going twice, going three times. And guess what?
Every time we need more spot. We actually have one more
We
spot
have
on the
one more
car.
nice sweet spot for
Yes.
anyone out there listening. Trust me.
Listen. Rosemary even mentioned she just sent me something a bun and cheese in Germany.
Yes. Yeah, so we had some bun and
Yeah,
cheese there. We did,
Yummy.
this was here at the truck.
I want to know if Yummy have a brand here in Europe that they would like to throw on onto the car.
Yes.
That's a HTV right there, you know. Right?
Yeah.
Yummy.
All
We
right.
don't know. We won't call any names. It's just a bun right now.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
if
yeah.
they give us a call, we'll tell them what brand was sitting out there.
So
With of course, you
mm.
had to have the red cheese, right?
Yeah.
Silver,
Yes,
you have
yes,
to have
yes.
the red cheese in it.
So what is it, Tommy? You got ATL, you got Supreme Ventures, you got Porsche, you got Culture Rum, and
Amsoil, of course.
And of
yes,
Hotels
course,
Jamaica.
we still want to make sure that you guys understand that we have
yes.
two of the biggest hotel corporations in Jamaica that
Mm.
came on simultaneously onto this car, which is absolutely huge, fantastic. When you think of a brand of sandals and S Hotel being on the
Okay.
car, both of them, you know, even you would have that competition from both, of course, and those dynamics, but for both companies to come on board and says, "Hey, we want to be a part of this journey." I mean, trust me, hats off to both of you,
Yeah.
and thank you very, very, very
So
much. It's a
that's
huge.
Adam Stewart who's involved and on board and everything like that. Yeah.
Chris is yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, the most important one, Mobile Freight Services. They are a shipping company. They do Miami to
Okay.
Jamaica every week of life. Up to
Okay.
a container, from a little pen or a little chapstick to a full container of goods. You can
The,
also send me a message about getting in contact with
the
them.
container
So
don't drop off. Container
I
don't drop off.
realize this is the family owned
yeah,
business.
The container don't
We
drop
left
off of the
mess
boat
a
though.
lot.
The container don't drop off of the boat. The container don't drop off of the boat.
no man, never.
When you're ready for TV, Silver, this is
Yeah, man.
we the guys.
Well, Marcy Bernard is just saying, I send you Port Royal patties.
Wicked.
Nice.
We have a big spot on the front of the helmet, and I
Yes.
also have a spot on the car for you.
Yeah, ready for you.
All right.
Ready.
I would say Irie on that. But listen, I just want to ask.
We'll make sure that when Tom is doing the interview, him have a patty right there, just taking a little bite off.
and when you eat a patty, you have to blow on it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, usually blow the patty, it's usually in your mouth already, and you have to say, oh,
It's when you start to drip down the side, when you start to drip down the corner.
All right. Tommy, if there was any doubt as to you're Jamaican, you pass.
Yes, of course. But when we brought the culture room for them this weekend, and the guys
Yes.
are like, "So you drink this?" And I was like, "Yes." I mean, this is after racing, of course. And
Oh,
yes.
I was going to ask about after racing, not before
after
racing.
And
make sure I put that in.
yes, and they're like, "So what do you drink it with?" I was like, "Well, anything, water, coconut water, Pepsi, anything." And they're like, "No, you don't drink it like that." And I was like, "Well, or straight, anything." And they're like, "Drink it." And take a shot with them, and the team loved it. They loved it so much. They're like, "All right, bring it back every race. We need some."
Oh God.
So it might be a little expensive every time we come, but it's definitely worth it.
Yeah. Well, when I'm grateful, I mean, because since the last time we're on the program, you're building up with sponsors, and you've developed much more, and you can see the massive support. I just want to ask you, Tommy, this issue. What is it like being away and like on the circuit? Because I'm Tommy, Doug, you're not with Tommy all the while, are you?
No.
No,
Yeah.
so I think I'll have at least one person that I know with me, before racing. I've known before racing at least. At every race meet. I mean, it's nice to have somebody, somebody you can talk to after in the car ride there and back. But yeah, it's completely different to what I grew up with. I grew up racing in Jamaica. Beside my family, every race meet, mom, dad, cousin, sister, auntie, everybody's there.
And Silver, like how you're part of the family now, we expect you to be
Yes,
one of them that
Yes,
when you
yes,
come
yes.
over and you can help right here now with Tommy, and then I will feel comfortable that Silborn is right there, is he?
Of course,
yes,
I mean, we don't have to do
definitely.
this on the studio. You know, you
Yeah,
just have one camera set up
right
when you're ready.
Yeah, yeah. No, 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 definitely. It will have to happen. I'll have to go. Germany just across the road there, and Rosemary. I mean, she would
Hop, skip, and a
definitely.
jump.
Yeah,
Yes, and I'm
yeah,
sure Rose will put you up as well if we're close down by her. So
yeah.
must can arrange something.
No, that's very interesting. Now, Doug, I just need to ask you this question because I'm a person who my discussions and my shows touch on politics and all different things, and I'm always issues with um
Politics and politics.
yeah, politics and politics. I'm always talking about Jamaica and the civics and everything. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm doing a civics program every 2 weeks where I'm
Yes, I
getting
watch
different
it. I
persons
watch
to do
it.
the lectures. As next one is going to be Jeanette Haller. Doug, I'll ask you this. I don't want Tommy get into this sort of political, but Doug, in light of Jamaica now and the season that we're on, they call it the silly season, but I rephrase it and call it the serious season. Um,
Yes.
and with this happening now, it's like there's life beyond politics. While politics are gone, while change of government, you guys are racing. Things are still happening. What's your take on the scenario in Jamaica now, in light of the politics or so? How do you go through it?
Well,
How do you
to
guard
be
Tommy
honest
from
with
it?
you, growing up, politics made us move out of Jamaica
Okay.
as our personal family twice in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Back when we thought that Manley was now going to him and Fidel was now going to join hands, and a lot of middle and upper class people, they all ran out of Jamaica, leaving
Yeah.
there to the various parts of UK and America and Canada, and they left out there in droves. Michael, what was his great phrase? There were three flights out of Jamaica, or five. Yeah.
Yeah.
So please, if you want to go, you go, sort of thing. And we were one of them. Some of my family
You on the
stayed in
second flight or the
Jamaica.
third flight? Which one were you on? The first
Yeah,
flight.
I tell you, I know it was one of them. I can tell you that.
Yes.
But from that was 1979, and then I became a green card holder, and then we went back to Jamaica because we realized that, guess what, America was not the bed of roses that we all thought. They always say the grass is green on the other side. And
Yes.
my father realized that, guess what, Jamaica was still home, and he wanted to go back home.
Yes.
And we were there for another 4.5 years, and then the JLP side of it came in, and Mr. Siaga was out there doing all kinds of things where you couldn't bring out more than $50 back out of America. That was one of these policies, and we're now starting to think, hold on a second now. Michael is termed communist, but then Siaga now was doing his thing, and that was now that's another crazy scenario that was going on through
Yeah.
those times, and people were getting killed and robbed, and we just didn't like
Mm.
that was also another scenario that where was Jamaica going. So this was now the second time in my family's life that we said, no, we have to now go back to America again. We have to now say, all
Okay.
right, let us try the greener grass all over again. We went
Yes.
back, and then I started my mobile freight service business, going back and forth. And then I permanently came back to Jamaica now, even flying back and forth to America,
Yes.
trying to still keep my American status, keeping my Jamaican status. So I was always going back and forth. And then it got to the point now where I said, well, guess what? I love this. I don't want to hand off my Jamaican heritage anymore. This Jamaica is my home, and my father and mother came back, and I tell you
Mm.
something, they never left, and
Mm.
Jamaica has been home again, and I can tell you that our side of the family, Jamaica is home, and I don't think we'll ever leave there ever permanently again.
So
That is
therefore,
it's a fact.
if somebody push you and say, "Are you? Which one of the P's are you?" How do you say?
Oh Lord, PIP.
Oh,
What
yeah.
that is.
Glad is not on the pitch. Glad is not on the pitch.
Party in power. Hip
Oh,
hip
party
hooray.
power. That's very. That's a very interesting bit. I know a few Jamaicans
I
who say
must
that
tell
as
you that
well.
I grew up
Yeah.
around business people all
Yes.
through my life, and that was one of the things that I've even told Tommy. I said,
Yes.
you try to understand and watch your elders and see what they're doing. And that's one of the
Yes.
things that I loved when the grown-ups were talking. I would come and pull up a chair, and of course, you try to be as quiet as possible and you
Yes.
listen. And of
Mm.
course, the youngsters these days, they're going to voice their opinions. But
Yes.
in my day, you wanted to be there and you wanted to listen to these elders, and you're going to say, oh, so this is what is going on. And
Yes.
you learn so much, right? And that's one of the things that I prided myself on. And of course, I've told my
Yeah.
kids the same thing. I says, if you can listen to your elders, they have been through it, they
Yes.
understand, they know. I'm not telling that everything that they say is gospel,
Yes.
just like all these politics that we're
Mm.
talking about. Not everything is gospel, but guess what? If you listen, you can now deduce within your own head, as long as your
Yes.
head is screwed right, what is good and what is right. Yeah,
Yes.
trust me.
Well, well, thanks for that. Well, Tommy, I didn't want to bring you into that one. I just wanted that is just
I
me
haven't
getting
been.
knowledge.
I only been able to vote once, so or not even. This is the first time I'm legal or old enough to vote in Jamaica. So
Okay, okay, okay,
and I
okay.
can't vote in America either. So anyway, we go. I'm all right.
Well,
Been okay so far.
well, that's great. That's great because one of the things I do encourage Jamaicans is that don't be a part of the 37% only that only vote, but
That's
be a
right.
part of the majority of persons that exercise
Yes.
their political franchise because lots of people died for the opportunity and so like that. But anyway,
And
but this is
guess
not
what?
a
I mean,
political.
I have so many friends and family that
Yes,
you cut some of them bleed green and then you cut some of them bleed orange. So
yes, yes.
and they have all the dynamics. I mean, we'd all be on Tuesday night, we all get together and playing dominoes, and
Well, well, well,
the politics might start up, and you just sit there and
well,
laugh.
well, that's it. That's a very interesting thing because just like when Usain Bolt was running, everybody's a Jamaican. Whatever,
Yes,
you all come together. When you guys are racing, you're Jamaican and so like that.
that's
So
right.
the
That's right.
thing
That's
that
right.
comes together, which is powerful. Marcia Foster said, "I'm officially joining PIP." Mark Foster,
Wicked,
take
wicked.
100%
it.
PIP all the way.
Yeah, Marcia Bernard said, "When
Any
Mobay are you
proper
from?"
business person in Jamaica or even sometime in the world, because we have what's going on in America with the
Yeah,
tariffs and thing, and everybody was like, oh, and I said, but
mm,
yeah, but there's always three sides to every story. Always remember
yes.
that part.
Some guy in Toronto said, Mark Taylor said, "What's a pre-race meal? Ackee and saltfish, mangoes, and breadfruit." That's a question to you.
Definitely not mangoes.
No, no. You don't want to be running to
No, no,
where and somehow you
no,
will
no,
climb
no.
into the racing seat.
Ah,
Uh,
so,
I
so what
mean, my first meal, I said when I get home.
Hold on. We have a patty company that might be
Uh,
interested. So let me
is,
tell you,
yeah,
you might want
for
to get
sure.
you might want to eat a
Yeah,
patty
yeah.
before you,
A patty and cocoa bread
or
will
a
work.
particular bun company.
Yeah, yeah,
Patty and cocoa bread and meatloaf.
yeah. Yes.
Kalaloo loaf.
Of course. No. Callaloo. Meatloaf.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're warned against a particular set of food while you're driving, isn't it? There must be.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you want something that's easy to digest and you're not thinking about it while you're driving. Just something that keeps you
Yeah,
fueled, high carbs, high protein, and you're good. It's not too complicated. Some people are very specific. I'm not
yeah,
too bad on it. I grew up in Jamaica eating all the spices,
No
the
heavy,
jerk
no
chicken,
heavy
jerk
curry.
pork. Yeah. No heavy curry though, but all the spices are fine with me as long as it tastes good.
Or no jerk pork.
I know joke for or so like that. But listen, guys. I tell you, it was very interesting, and thanks for the discussion.
I
Any
saw
sorry,
Marcia said that she's asking where you grew up. She said she was in Reading or something.
she said I grew up. She's where in Mobay are you from? I grew up in Reading. Reading. Oh, she's
So
asking where Mobay are you
we
from? You
also
guys.
lived in Reading for a while, but you grew up in Kingston early, no?
Well, my first 11 years of my life was in Kingston. I mean, everybody knows in Jamaica, Gore Brothers or Gore Developments that bring all the houses all over Jamaica, the middle income housing. So
Yes,
that will be where my family is best known for.
yes,
And so my first 11 years of my life was there. And then we went to America for about 4 years. And then we came back back to Montego Bay. My mother, I'm not sure even Silver, my mother was Miss Jamaica 1965.
okay,
And she was also Miss St. James. So
yes,
my family was really a Montagonian on my mother's side. So when we came back to Jamaica, we moved to Montego Bay. And basically kind of never left Mobay. You know, Mobay has
Yes.
been a staple now from then on
Mm.
in.
Okay, that's awesome. And so any last word, guys, that you want to share? Any last bit of information?
You just make sure you find yourself up here in Germany.
Yeah,
We
man.
want to give you a drive in a big car. That's the whole thing. That's
Um,
the crux of the matter.
well, a few people have said to me, and the last time they said, Silver, you need to really reach there. And I mean, and of course, Germany is just
Yeah,
awesome.
man.
It's every
It's
opportunity that
close.
I get, every opportunity I get to go anywhere, Tommy and Doug, I go Jamaica. Every good
Yes.
break I
All
get,
right.
Well, if
I
you're
go
in
to Jamaica.
Jamaica, you know, just come. We have the race cars down there as well. You know,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
not
yeah,
getting
yeah.
out it.
You're
You're
not
not
getting
getting
out
out
there,
Yeah.
it.
you know, you're not getting out
Yeah.
there
Can't get out
somehow.
of it. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm trying to say, getting excited as much as possible. You know. So listen, um, thank you guys so much for coming on, and I look forward to also link up with Senna as well as where is that, you know, and
Yeah,
and
man.
and and we take it there, and much congratulations to what you're doing, Tommy, and I can see the excitement, you know, like oozing this passion with the whole thing. And but by the way, just asking, and if persons in Jamaica, someone listening and say, man, I want to get involved with this, I want to get into racing and car racing, what do you advise to them for a
So
young
I mean,
person?
a lot of it depends on your age. If you're
Hmm.
say under 16, the best way to
Oh,
go is to go
oh, I
to
can't
the
get it then.
JKA.
It's under 16, so I can't do it then.
No, no. The best way is to start in go karts. Go to the JKA. I know Mark Foster has a son that's in the JKA as well.
Yes.
And it's the best training ground. That's where I started, and a lot of other very talented drivers started in the JKA, the Jamaica Karting Association. The next step up is to go to the JRDC, which is the Jamaica Race Drivers Club, and
Yes.
they're also doing an excellent job developing back circuit racing on the island. You can
Mm.
start in the cheapest class, which is a super street class. It's an entry level, and it's
That's
super.
literally bring your road car.
Bring your road
Right.
car. It's super low
Yeah.
cost. It's a little high on maintenance compared to that, but you're not
Yeah.
Not necessarily
investing
your
on.
pro box, but you know,
Yeah.
something.
No, they had a Pro Max racing one
Oh,
time. Yeah. So
oh,
anything, bring anything you have, and
yeah.
everybody is. It's a very nice community. It's a tight knit community, but it's also very big. You know, everybody looks out for each other and helps out each other. You know, it's not really fend for especially in Jamaica. It's not fend for yourself. Versus over here
Mm.
in Europe, it's more. Everybody's a little more private, a little quiet, and not as braggadocious or out
Yeah.
out there as us. But in
Yes.
Jamaica, I've seen it. I mean, I'm in a group chat right now, and people are sending messages every 5 minutes about their car. Who can help? Do you have this part? Do you have this part? So it's
I
really,
think I
really
think
good
I think I heard that
community,
the
and it's
Chinese are
fun.
down in Jamaica. I heard that the
Yeah, they
Chinese
got
are.
locked down this week, you know. So I don't know
They
how
got
much
locked down.
longer they'll be there.
Well, they got
Yes,
locked
yeah, they
down.
found they were working
Work,
illegally or
work
something.
permit business.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not a
Okay.
bad
Still
thing.
more
Competition is a
politics
good
and
thing.
politics.
Yeah.
So funny.
The competition is a good thing and make everybody else step up their game. So
Well, as a matter of fact, it
yeah.
looked like everybody step up their game for that few moments there. It maybe
Yes,
shows
exactly.
that.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, listen, guys, listen, Doug, thank you so much for coming on. Tommy, much
Thank you very
respect
much too.
Thank you for
as well.
having us.
Yes, and when Doug, when are you going back to JA?
Well, we're flying in
Tomorrow
3
morning.
o'clock
Yeah.
in the morning or
Oh,
3:30.
okay.
We should have made it meet a little earlier.
Yeah, man.
Go to bed
As
now.
soon
Wake
as
up.
it's come, I just going to
Well, definitely no bun and cheese then.
No. But
Marcy,
definitely when you go into the airport, I'm going to find a coffee machine quick.
yes,
Although
yes,
it won't have the good stuff, but I definitely brought my pack of Betty with me.
yes. Betty.
Yes,
Okay.
man, my condensed milk. Yeah, man, everywhere I
Condensed
go, I
milk,
have
Betty
my
milk.
little
Yeah, man,
condensed
remember
milk.
Betty milk. Yeah. Marcy Bernard said, "I feel so proud of you guys. I connect with Rose concerning patties."
Wicked.
Yeah, she is in contact with Rosemary Binder. Rosemary, she's watching because she's WhatsApping me as well.
I'm sure.
As-
Oh, I think they should have reached back soon. They're on their way, but it's
Yes,
a long drive for them in
yeah.
Germany.
I'm gonna
It's
link up
crazy.
with Max as well as much as possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wicked,
Anyway,
All
wicked.
right.
right.
All
Listen,
right,
take
so
care
we
of
talk
yourself.
soon then. And we'll
We'll
update
talk
you when
to
we're
you.
on the podium.
Definitely, and I
Yes.
get the champ. I should get the champagne, or you
That's
guys?
right.
Only if
We're
you're
all
there.
coming
Only if
together.
you're there, you know. So make sure
Okay,
every race you need it there, just in case.
get the champagne. All right then.
And then
Good
hopefully
stuff.
you'll be our good luck charm, you see?
Definitely. All right, and peace out. Thank you so much,
Take
Doug,
care.
and thank
Yeah,
you very
man.
much, Tommy.
Sounds
And
good.
ladies and
Sounds
gentlemen,
good.
make sure you do follow Tommy and Doug as well. And I definitely. By the way, they just remind me again. You're if people want to follow you on Instagram,
So
what is
Instagram is Tommy Gore _. But if you type in Tommy Gore, it'll be the
yeah.
first one that comes up. YouTube is Tommy Gore as well. Everything TOMMIGORE. So easy
As a
to
matter of fact,
find.
yeah. As a matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen, I will agree with you. It's very easy. Tommy Gore, TikTok as well, WhatsApp
Yes,
as well,
yeah,
yeah, TikTok as well,
everything.
Facebook, everything. Yeah, you on Snap?
And
Yeah,
we
you on
just had a website that went live, tommygore.com. So you can
Tommy
find
Gore?
the newest thing that it just went live. So it'll be updated in the coming weeks. We
Okay.
develop it a little more. But any race that I'm doing, the
Mm.
current live stream will be there, the live timing, that
Mm.
kind of stuff. All that information will be
Yeah,
updated as we go.
definitely. And sponsors. You're all ready to
That's
come in
right.
as
That's right.
Of
That's right.
course.
all right. All
Thanks
right,
Yeah,
again.
man.
respect.
Thanks
Sounds
again.
good.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Yeah,
Cheers. Bye
man.
bye.
Cool.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining, and thank you for being here with this discussion with Tommy Gore and Doug Gore, very able Jamaicans out there, flying the flag very high. I want to thank those who joined today, and of course Marcia, Mark, Ramona, Tommy to the World, Kato and Chin, and from those on TikTok as well, those on Facebook, and those on Instagram. Thank you so much for joining. And of course, I just want to invite you to like and subscribe to the show and tune in also to the series which I have on civics. The next show is going to be on the 4th, Sunday, this Sunday actually, with next Sunday with Miss Jeanette Calder from JAM. We're going to talk about civics and the accountability. Civics and accountability. And later on, I'll be having Lord Simon Woolley from the UK to speak about it, about civics and more importance of that as well. And at some point, I'm going to be having also Miss Michael Jackson from Jamaicans for Justice talk about human rights and civics and the sort of responsibility. I believe it's very important to be a part of the education process. Okay, so without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, have a good night and may God bless you and enjoy this Sunday evening for whatever left of it. We're just 9 o'clock in the UK, opportune time to actually have some tea. Okay, bye bye.